mentioned, I have already sent it in your group, but I don't know how many of you have seen it. In this chapter, there are few topics which is deleted. So if it is not mentioned in your book, or if it is not knowing, then you please note it down again so that there will be no confusion. Okay, clear? So there will be no confusion. So check it whether you have mentioned it or not. So I am talking of revised topic of chemistry related to the chapter D and F block. Okay, so you take care and listen very carefully. So which are the topic included? You think it that only? Voice is not clear. Okay. Now is it clear? Now I am audible.
Yes,
Student.
ma'am.
Now I am audible. Okay. Somebody has written in chat box that my voice is not clear. Okay. So you can note it down. Now is it clear? Voice is clear? Govind?
Yes.
Okay. Now look at the topic. You are note it down. This in our course D and F block included topics are general introduction, electronic configuration, occurrence and characteristics of transition metals. Voice is not audible. Harshit Kabra. What about other students? Amir, am I audible?
Ma'am,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
are audible.
I'm audible. Okay.
मैम उनको जियो का कनेक्शन है कि एक बार पूछो, उसका स्लो ही चल रहा है सुबह से।
बता दो वापस।
मैम उनको जियो का कनेक्शन है क्या, इसलिए स्लो चल रहा होगा।
अच्छा, जिनका प्रॉब्लम उसका कनेक्शन है इसीलिए प्रॉब्लम। सुपर ऑडिबल। Good, because I am also so much tensed if my voice is not clear, so that's why. Okay, so wait for 1 minute. Okay, now the rest of the topics D and F block. General trends in properties of first transition series, metallic character, ionization enthalpy, oxidation state, ionic radii, color, catalytic property, magnetic property. Okay, Ayush, again you have the same problem because most of the students already responded, I am audible to them. So in your case, I don't know what happened. So anyway, catalytic property, then magnetic properties, interstitial compounds, alloy formation. And in the case of lanthanoids, you have to think about only, again Anjali said that I am not audible. From my part it is clear, I think. So there is no problem in my side. Okay, let us see. Magnetic properties. Okay. In the case of lanthanides, you have to think about electronic configuration, oxidation state, and lanthanoid contraction and consequences. Only these much topics included in the syllabus. So let us think about these topics only. So I think last class we have discussed. Topic discussed in the last class was magnetic properties. So magnetic properties we have already discussed, and according to the magnetic properties, most of the elements are classified under two category major. One is a diamagnetic substance and second is a paramagnetic substance. Diamagnetic substance means the substances which are feebly repelled from a magnetic field. Then paramagnetic substance means substances which are feebly attracted towards a magnetic field. So this is all about the yesterday's topic, and where the paramagnetism is more, that state is said to be the ferromagnetic substance. So what is the reason behind diamagnetic substance? Due to the presence of paired electron. Paramagnetic substance due to the presence of unpaired electron. Ferromagnetic substance, maximum number of unpaired electrons are there. The element is ferromagnetic. These are the topics we have discussed. Today we will discuss a new topic. Means again it is atomic property of transition element, and the property is formation of colored ions. You can write it down on your copy. Formation of colored ions. Formation of colored ions. So first of all, transition elements are capable of forming colored compounds. Like potassium permanganate, the color is purple. Potassium dichromate, the color is yellow. So that means there are compounds which are colored if it is formed from a transition elements. Now let us think about the reason behind that. Why some compounds are colored? At the same time, I will tell you, there are some compounds which are colorless. Compounds of transition elements which are colorless. Okay. Many examples are there. Let us think about one compound, scandium. Scandium forms a compound, scandium oxide or scandium sulfate, in which the oxidation state of scandium is +3. So in that particular state, scandium compound is colorless. Similarly, when zinc is in 2+ oxidation state, the compound is colorless. Now, what is the reason behind? Although some elements belong to transition category, but their compounds are colorless. And the reason is related to the oxidation state. So let us think about some example. I will show you one example which is related to scandium. So, atomic number of scandium 21. When we are thinking of 3+ oxidation state, scandium configuration is argon configuration 4s2 okay, 4s2 Now, when it occurs a 3+ oxidation state, that means it loses 2 electrons from S subshell and it loses 1 electron from D subshell. So that means Sc3 + K, its configuration is 3d0. So that means there is no electron in the D subshell. Similarly, when we think about next element, titanium, and its oxidation state 4+. So this compound is colorless. And same example, I will tell you one more example. If it has the oxidation state Sc2+, what about the configuration? 3d1. So this is colored. Look at the example. Intentionally, I put the same example, same element. See, look at this. Scandium 3+, it is colorless, but scandium 2+ is colored. And the reason is because of the presence of electrons in the D subshell. Because of the presence of electrons in the D subshell. Okay. If D subshell is vacant, the compound is colorless. So simply we can say that the color or the color formation of transition element is due to excitation of electron in the D subshell. Excitation of electrons in D subshell. This is the reason behind This is the reason behind the color formation of transition elements. Excitation of electron in the d subshell. Or simple language, we can say that is due to DD transition. DD transition means electron present in the d subshell excited. So as it is de-excited, it leaves energy in the form of radiation, and that radiation belongs to a particular color in the visible spectrum. So that's why it is colorable. So this is the reason behind color formation of compounds of transition elements. I think it is clear to you. Similarly, I will give one more example. Take the example of zinc. Zinc and the oxidation state is 2+. So electronic configuration of zinc, atomic number is 30. Electronic configuration, argon configuration 4:3d10. This is the configuration of zinc. And if Zn2+ is there, the configuration becomes 3d10. 3d10 means D subshell is completely filled. So if D subshell is completely filled, again it gives a colorless solution, colorless compound. So this is the reason behind the color formation of transition elements. It is due to DD transition. DD transition means excitation of electron in the D level. So when we come to the next chapter, coordination compounds, there we will discuss classification of D subshell. The D subshells are again classified into two categories. It is called T2G level and EG level. Okay, T2G level and EG level means you know that D subshell there are 5 orbitals: dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square, and dz square. So when we consider these all 5 orbitals, when we arrange this in the increasing order of energy, dz square will be coming first, then comes into the next one, dx square minus y square and dxy, they comes to the next category, and dxz and dyz, this is coming into the last category. So in this way there are 3 categories are there. So but the first and second is coming under the category T2G level, and the last 2 coming under the category EG level. So this we will discuss in the next chapter, coordination compound. So then you can understand it more. Now you understood this much. Transition elements forms colored compounds due to DD transition, or simply excitation of electron in the D subshell. And if D subshell is vacant, 0 electrons are there, it gives colorless compound, and D subshell is completely filled, again it gives colorless compound. So this is all about the formation of compounds. Now think about the next topic. Transition elements are capable of forming complexes. Write the heading. They are capable of forming complexes. Okay. What is complex? Complex simply means coordination compounds. Coordination compounds, there are 2 conditions. One is metal is there, and second is metal must be there, and second is it contain sufficient. Wait. So I am coming in. खिड़की के थ्रू एक कबूतर अंदर आ गया, तो एक फैन चालू था, ठीक है, तो बाय चांस लग गया तो प्रॉब्लम है, इसीलिए मैं स्विच ऑफ करने के लिए गए थे फैन का, ठीक है. सो आर ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स देयर इन द क्लास? आर यू ऑल देयर? गोविंद?
यस मैम.
ओके. कबूतर का स्टोरी सुनाई दिया था?
Yes, ma'am.
क्योंकि you know 2 doves are sitting at the sitting outside of window. Sometimes it is entering. Okay, Shreyash, I can understand. Even I am also having some connectivity issues because here attendance is not visible. So let us see what will happen. Maybe today there is network issue. Okay, so let us come to the point. And maybe network issue is there left in the meeting. Formation of complex formation, very important. 2 points are there. First of all, there are two conditions for the formation of a coordination complex. One is there is a metal ion with a sufficient number of empty d subshell. Empty means a vacant d subshell. Second component is a ligand which is capable of providing at least one lone pair of electrons. These are the two necessary conditions for the formation of a complex. Okay, so now when we are discussing transition elements, why they are capable of forming complex? So there are three important reasons behind that. First of all, when we consider transition elements, I have already told you they show similarity in horizontal wise. So first transition series from scandium to zinc, their atomic size is almost same. There is very slight variation in atomic size. So we can simply say that their atomic size is small. They are small in size. First of all, they are small in size. Second one, their ionic charges are high. Ionic charges simply means their oxidation state. They are capable of showing a wide variety of oxidation state, +2 to +7. So that means that their ionic charges are high. And the last reason is availability of d orbital. So because of these three reasons, they are capable of forming complexes. I'll repeat. First of all, smaller size of their atoms or ions. Second reason is their high ionic charges. That means they are capable of showing oxidation state ranging from +2 to +7. Third is availability of d subshell. Availability of vacant d subshell. Okay, so these are the points related to that particular topic. So another property is catalytic properties. You can write the point. Exactly, I am not remembering the exact number, but I think this is the number 7, catalytic property. What do you mean by catalytic property? When we look at some industrial process of preparation of some compounds like ammonia, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, in all these cases, we can see that there is the presence of a catalyst. And this catalyst is very essential for the industrial process because catalyst is capable of increasing the yield of the reaction product, as well as it will be enhance the speed of the reaction. It is capable of helping the reactant to convert it to the product very easily. So there are many impact for a catalyst in a particular industrial process. So when we discuss the catalyst used in different process, like, okay, Harshit, maybe you have network issues. That's why. Check it again. Leave करके वापस आ जाओ. Join करो meeting. So maybe it will be clear. Okay. So when we look at the catalyst of industrial process, we know that first of all, ammonia, Haber process for the manufacture of ammonia, the catalyst used is iron, spongy iron, and second is manufacture of sulfuric acid. Catalyst used is vanadium pentoxide. Third, Ostwald process for the manufacture of nitric acid. There is the catalyst. Again, there is one catalyst used in Ostwald process, like platinum is used. So most of the cases you can see that these all catalysts belong to the category transition. You know that the so-called hydrogenation product, hydrogenation catalyst, which are the hydrogenation catalyst, platinum, palladium, nickel. These all are belonging to transition element category. So what is the reason why they are capable of function as catalyst? Simple one reason is there, because of their multiple oxidation state. Because of their multiple oxidation state. Why multiple? What do you mean by multiple oxidation state? They are capable of showing variable oxidation state. Then what is the benefit? You know the function of the catalyst. Exactly, catalyst is capable of providing surface area for the reactant to form a complex very easily, and this complex breaks into product. This is the mechanism of the process takes place when we use a catalyst in a reaction. Okay, this is the mechanism. What is the mechanism? First of all, there is a temporary bond which is formed between reactant and the catalyst. So surface area, if surface area is maximum, the reaction rate will be also maximum. That's why normally the catalyst will be in the finely powdered form. Finely powdered form means their surface area is small. Okay, so this is the first reason, variable oxidation state. Because of variable oxidation state, they can make the bond very quickly, so that the product formation will be takes place very easily. So this is the reason why transition elements are function as catalyst. Okay, so this is the 7th point, and 8th point is they are capable of forming interstitial compounds. Very important. They are capable of forming interstitial compounds. Interstitial compounds means this topic again we'll discuss in another chapter, solid state. Interstitial compounds means when we consider a particular compound, it has a specific shape. When we consider their crystal shape, either they have a cubical shape or they have octahedral shape. Anyway, even if we have a particular shape, even though there exists vacant space in their compounds, vacant space in the crystal structure, and these vacant spaces are known under the name interstitials. So what are interstitials? Interstitials are the vacant spaces where interstitials are atoms which are occupies at the vacant space of compounds. Okay, and the vacant spaces are known under the name voids, or they are also known under the name interstices. Better to remember this word in the voids. So interstitials are atoms or atoms which are occupied at the voids. So the compounds obtained through this formation of interstitial is called the interstitial compound. So when we are looking at transition elements, they are capable of forming many compounds. So I will give one example: titanium carbide, TiC. Another example I can see, we can say Fe3H. In these two examples, you can see that there exist small atoms, carbon, hydrogen, not only these two, maybe nitrogen, maybe oxygen. So these are small atoms. They are capable of accommodating in this vacant space voids. Vacant spaces of crystal lattice of transition elements. And the crystal lattice means there is a particular shape in the three-dimensional figure, like a hexagonal structure, cubical structure, tetrahedral structure, square planar structure. So in all these structures, there exist voids, vacant space. So since the atoms are small in size, which are the atoms here in this example, carbon, hydrogen, they are very small in size. They are capable of accommodating in this voids. So they are forming compounds called the interstitial compounds. These interstitial compounds are showing very important properties. Which are the properties shown by interstitial compounds? First of all, they have high melting point, boiling point. And second point is they are chemically inert in nature. Why they are chemically inert? Because these small atoms are not forming any effective bond like ionic bond or covalent bond, any strong bond. They are forming only temporary bond with the transition elements, these small atoms, because they are simply occupying the voids, vacant spaces present in the crystal structure of transition elements. So that's why they are normally chemically inert in nature. So, but they shows a very good conductivity. That means they are conductors of electricity. Okay, then another one, they are very hard when we compare to the hardest form, that means diamond. Diamond, suppose it is considered as the hardest one. Even there are some compounds of interstitial compound like borides. Borides means boron is a small element, small atom. Boron is occupying the vacant space present in the transition elements, and the compound obtained is called a boride. These borides are still, they are harder than diamond. Okay, so that means in general we can say that interstitial compounds are hard in nature. Interstitial compounds have high melting point, boiling point. They are chemically inert, but they have very good metallic conductivity property. So these are the property related to interstitial compounds. And the last property is alloy formation. Alloys. All these transition elements are capable of forming alloys. You know what are alloys? Anyone can say the definition of alloy. What is an alloy? Anyone? What is an alloy? Any students? No one.
Mixture of
Not mixture of atom, mixture of elements. And in the element means it contains at least one metal. हाँ हार्दिक, I know that बहुत network issues हो रहे हैं, I can understand. Excuse कर दो. Next time अगले क्लास में मैं आपको बता देती हूँ. ये मैं वापस बता दूंगी, कोई चिंता मत करो, ठीक है? So network issue is there. And I can see that students are coming and they are going like anything. Okay, देखते हैं. So I will make it clear. No problem. Okay, I am here to help you. Okay, so we'll sort out this. This is inorganic chemistry topic, so I can dedicate one more period for this. No problem. Okay, so what we are talking, alloys. Alloys are mixtures of one metal, minimum one metal, and minimum one metal means maybe two metals, maybe one metal and one non-metal. So many examples are there. So first of all, we can say example is bronze. Bronze is an example, and the component elements are copper and tin, Cu and Sn. Brass is another alloy which contains copper and zinc. You notice this thing. Both the cases, the component elements belong to first transition series. Okay. Now our question is why they are capable of forming alloys, especially transition elements. So there is simple reason. The reason is the transition elements, their atoms are similar in size. Atoms are similar in size. Because of the similarity in size, they are capable of forming alloys. Okay, so these are the general properties of transition elements. Okay, so these are the topic you have to remember. Each case you have to remember some conceptual question. What is the reason behind? Why they are capable of functional as catalyst? Why they are capable of forming complexes? Reasoning type questions you have to prepare. And the next topic we can remember, inner transition elements. We can write the heading, inner transition elements. Very small topics we have now. Inner transition elements means what? inner transition elements, we can say that F block elements are called inner transition elements. But all F block elements are not inner transition elements, but all inner transition elements are F block elements. So simply, what are inner transition elements? Inner transition elements are elements with the incomplete F subshell. So write the definition. F block elements are those elements in which the last electron is present in the F subshell. Last electron is present in the F subshell. But inner transition elements are those elements with the incomplete F subshell. Those elements with the incomplete F subshell. Okay. So these 2 points you have to remember. Now let us think about the configuration. When we have to think about the electronic configuration of inner transition. Or before that, let us think about the position of inner transition elements in the periodic table. Where these elements are located in the periodic table. Okay, so these elements are located at the bottom portion of the periodic table. Mainly F block elements, there are 2 series of elements. First is called the lanthanoids, second is called the actinoids. Lanthanoids, you can see that lanthanoid, there are 14 elements in these categories, and the elements are coming after lanthano. Therefore, the elements are coming under the group lanthanoids. Okay, now actinoids are those elements which are coming after actinium. Moreover, lanthanoids are those elements where filling up of 4F subshell takes place. Filling up of 4F. 4F subshell means anti-penultimate shell. Maybe you can remember that yesterday we have discussed these all terms. Outermost shell, penultimate shell and anti-penultimate shell. Anti-penultimate shell is third last shell. It is not the outermost shell, not the second last, third last shell is called the anti-penultimate shell. In the case of inner transition elements, suppose we are taking the example 6th period element. 6th period. 6th period means what? They have 6 main energy levels. Main energy levels are 6. So the principal quantum number n equal to 1. N equal to 6. So what is the configuration? 6s. Then after that there is d. So 6 6. Then we have 5d. Then we have 4f. So when we are talking of lanthanoids, its configuration is coming like this. It has some electron in 4f. Then some electrons are in 5d, maybe 0 electrons are in the 5d, then some electrons are in the 6s. Okay, so this is the general configuration of F block elements, or especially transition element, inner transition element, lanthanoids. Actinoids are again those elements in which those elements which are capable of filling 4F subshell. 4F is lanthanoids, 5F is actinoids. 5F. 5F means you can think 5F, then 6D, then 7S. This is the way the configuration comes. So you can mention it in your copy. Inner transition elements are of 2 types. One is called lanthanoids, and its configuration comes like this, like 4F, then 5D, then 6S. Okay, so this is the outermost shell, this is the penultimate shell, this is the anti-penultimate shell. So the electrons are filling in 4S subshell. Okay, then actinoids it is actinoids. 5F, then 6D, then 7S. So actinoids are those elements where filling up of 5F orbital takes place. So this is the general introduction of the topic inner transition elements. So we will continue in the next class. in a transition element. So network issue is there, very strong network issue is there. I can also feel like